And to complete the most significant news for this day, Y News continues. Here are the top stories. Some residents and business establishments in El Nido, Palawan were found to be releasing wastewaters into the sea amid complaints on the sewerage project allegedly abandoned by the local government. Grace Casin will tell us why in this exclusive report.
A wide and foul-smelling canal can be found in Buena Suerte village in El Nido, Palawan. Business establishments here are said to be releasing wastewaters into the said canal, and pieces of trash can also be seen here. The water channel directly flows into the sea waters, which upon closer inspection are now tainted with a murky color. The UNTV news team was able to get a video of this and showed it to El Nido Mayor Nieves Rosento. She said she already ordered to close all pipelines connected to the establishments in the village and tasked her staff to inspect the area to see if business owners violated local government's order.
Minsan, isasara mo siya, magkakaroon ulit siya ng panibagong outflow.
The UNTV News visited one of the business establishments to get its comment on the issue, but its caretaker refused to give any statement. The residents, meanwhile, in Barangay Masagana are complaining about the allegedly abandoned sewage project in their area and emits a foul smell. They say this might be hazardous to health and local business if left unaddressed.
Isa rin ito nakaka-distract ng aming mga guests. Kasi minsan pagdating dito, mag-check-in, mag-out na lang. Hanap ng iba.
Grabing baho talaga. Hindi mo lalo kung kumakain kami dyan. Hindi pa nila na-actionan yan.
According to Cottages, Resorts and Restaurants Association of El Nido President Rheena Fernandez, the sewerage project initially supposed to become a cluster tank for all wastewaters was abandoned years ago. Hernandez also believes that the lack of proper and sufficient sewerage system is the main problem in El Nido.
It was abandoned by the contractor. I don't know the reason why. So then they're telling that by 2019, yung centralized sewerage will be completed. How could it be? Wala nga movement ngayon sa PIL.
Mayor Rosento, however, clarifies the project was only facing legal issues and was not abandoned because the construction of the cluster tank is still ongoing. She notes that 3 of the 13 cluster tanks in El Nido were already completed.
Habang ginagawa yung tanke, merong madadaan ng bakod na magigiba. Legal issues na hindi naman namin ina-anticipate na magkakaroon. So siyempre, while waiting for the budget para dyan, may mga natapos na rin kami.
Grace Casin, UNTV News and Rescue, El Nido, Palawan.
Meanwhile, the Philippines and China signed 29 agreements concerning infrastructure, agriculture, people-to-people, and financial cooperations during Chinese President Xi Jinping's state visit in the country. President Rodrigo Duterte and President Xi witnessed the signing of deals, including a memorandum of understanding on cooperation on oil and gas development between the two countries. According to Energy Secretary Alfonso Cusi, the signed memorandum of understanding will serve as framework in exploring opportunities and development between the Philippines and China. In a joint press statement, the two leaders expressed willingness to intensify the cooperation between the two countries and committed to manage contentious issues concerning the South China Sea dispute.
With mutual respect, sincerity, and adherence to sovereign equality, I will continue to work closely with President Xi to deepen the relationship between our great countries so we may together secure a peaceful and prosperous future for both our peoples and for the entire region.
中非在南海有广泛共同利益。
China and the Philippines have a lot of common interests in the South China Sea. We will continue to manage contentious issues and promote maritime cooperation through friendly consultation. And we will work alongside other ASEAN countries towards the conclusion of the COC consultations based on consensus within 3 years and contribute our share to peace, stability, and the welfare in this region.
President Xi is set to depart for China on Wednesday afternoon after meeting with Senate and House leaders. Malacanang believes that nations should unite to persuade China to respect all the arbitral ruling favoring the Philippines' jurisdiction claims over the contested territories in the West Philippine Sea. According to presidential spokesperson Salvador Panelo, Manila's arbitration victory is useless for now because nobody can force China to follow the ruling. In 2016, an international court ruled in favor of the Philippines, invalidating China's 9-dash line claim in the disputed waters. Beijing, however, has continued to ignore the arbitration ruling, asserting sovereignty over almost all of the resource-rich waters. Palace, however, was quick to clarify that this does not mean that the government is not doing anything to defend the country's right over the disputed waters.
Perhaps if all the countries of the world will unite and pressure China, who knows? In other words, there must be a collective action by the countries of the world and either persuade or pressure China into respecting an arbitral decision. We cannot give up this claim simply because it's already ours. We have won it and it will be there forever.
The Department of Information and Communications Technology has signed a joint letter of intent with China Telecom to build a submarine cable infrastructure which will connect the Philippines to Hong Kong and the United States. This is through DICT's cable landing station in China Telecom submarine telecommunications cable facility, which uses optical fiber technology to carry signal and digital data, including telephone and internet traffic. The DICT says the country needs cable landing stations that are independent of Globe and Smart. China Telecom is part of the Mislatel consortium that was recently named as a new major player in the country's telecommunications industry. Mislatel promised to deliver 27 Mbps of broadband speed in the first year of operations. Authorities believe the partnership with China Telecom will make the country's internet connectivity very much faster and cheaper.
The only way to do that is to come up with a government infrastructure that will become available to all players, including Globe and Smart.
Yung agreement that was signed today, no, for the submarine cable use with the DICT, this is our first step para bumaba po yung prices po ng internet.
And in other news, the Bureau of Customs assures it is investigating claims made by an importer that the tons of garbage shipped from South Korea were not harmful to human health. Verde Soco, the second industrial corporation, maintains that the items, mostly plastic trash, were made of natural recyclable materials and none have hazardous chemical ingredients. The BOC says the shipment that came last July lacks import clearance and the items are not purely synthetic plastic flakes as declared. However, the agency clarifies that the shipload contains no battery or something toxic, contrary to earlier reports. Nevertheless, the BOC assures that the investigation will resume to further verify if the shipment is safe.
We still have to verify it on the ground kasi iba yung nakita ng mga examiners namin. Iba-iba. So, yung nakita siguro, but yung nakita ng mga ibang agencies or whatever, they are the best, especially din sila lang po yung talagang makadetermine noon.
Tropical depression Samuel maintains its strength as it continues to creep closer to the Leyte Gulf area. Pag-asa says Samuel is expected to make landfall tonight over the areas of eastern Samar and Dinagat Islands. Samuel was last spotted east of Maasin, southern Leyte, with maximum sustained winds of 55 kilometers per hour and gustiness of up to 65 kilometers per hour. The storm will bring moderate to heavy rains, which may trigger flooding and landslides in Bicol, Mimaropa, Visayas, Dinagat, and Siargao Islands. Tropical cyclone warning signal number 1 is raised over Masbate, Romblon, Occidental and Oriental Mindoro, and Palawan, as well as several provinces in the Visayas, including Samar, Biliran, Bohol, Cebu, Guimaras, and Iloilo. The storm will also affect parts of Mindanao, including Surigao, Agusan, Misamis Oriental, and Camiguin. Tropical depression Samuel is expected to exit the Philippine Area of Responsibility, or PAR, on Friday. And for the news abroad, here's Kath Dumaraos live from Bangkok, Thailand. Kath, good evening.
Good evening, William. U.S. President Donald Trump's immigration policy receives another courtroom defeat after a U.S. judge on Monday temporarily blocked his order to bar asylum for immigrants who enter the country illegally from Mexico. U.S. District Judge John Tigger in San Francisco issued a temporary restraining order against the asylum rules. Tigger's order takes effect immediately, applies nationwide, and lasts until at least December 19th. Trump cited an overwhelmed immigration system for his recent proclamation that officials will only process asylum claims for migrants who present themselves at an official entry point. Civil rights groups sued, arguing that Trump's November 9 order violated an administrative and immigration law. Health workers in Yemen are appealing for help as fighting resumes at the key port of Hodeidah. This report tells us why. Fighting has broken out in the Yemeni city of Hodeidah, despite both the Saudi-led military coalition and Houthi rebels agreeing to halt offensives. Coalition warplanes resumed bombing following clashes between rebels and pro-government forces. According to the senior leader of the Iranian-backed Houthi militias, the Houthi is preparing to cease all military operations, hoping to promote the success of new round of Yemen peace negotiations. However, Saudi Arabia-led coalition spokesman Turki al-Maliki said that the Houthi, with little sincerity, still conducts military operations, and the Saudi-led coalition is not to put ceasefire on the agenda.
The coalition has now advanced the battle line to 4 kilometers from Hodeidah harbor and 3 kilometers from the center of Al-Hodeidah. At the same time, we made it one of the primary tasks of our operation to offer humanitarian assistance. The military operation is now going on, and its primary object is to destroy the Houthis' supply routes in various regions. Only the tempo of the military advancement with the city of Al-Hodeidah may vary at different times.
The latest violence in Hodeidah is likely to set back international efforts to bring an end to the ongoing conflict. Yemeni health workers in the region of Aslam plead for the help of NGOs and charities to respond to the growing number of starvation cases in the region to help prevent a famine gripping the war-torn country. In some areas, including the Aslam district, internally displaced people are forced to eat leaves, and health workers in the area say they received an average of 60 nutrition cases per month.
The capacity of this health center is limited. We call upon NGOs and charities to help us in the Aslan district to respond to the needs of the growing figures of IDPs arriving, and also the needs of the host community, which is on the brink of famine. It's not just Aslam district which is on the brink of famine. The entire country is.
According to the UN, a Yemeni child under the age of 5 is dying every 10 minutes from preventable diseases and severe acute malnutrition. The International Committee of the Red Cross says that in the first half of 2018, they provided food aid to about 500,000 Yemenis, and that robust political efforts are needed to bring an end to the conflict and to stop aid deliveries from being blocked. Hodeidah's port is a key lifeline for just under 2/3 of Yemen's population, which is almost totally reliant on imports of food, fuel, and medicine. The UN has previously warned that in a worst-case scenario, the conflict could cost up to 250,000 lives, as well as cut off aid supplies to millions of people. Kat Dumaraos, UNTV News and Rescue. News on the arrest of Nissan chairman Carlos Ghosn stuns many Japanese and businessmen and casts doubt into the future of Japan's #2 automaker. Meanwhile, the foreign minister of Turkey meets with United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres amid investigations on the killing of Saudi journalist Jamal Khashoggi. Beverly Saison tells us why.
In Japan, Tokyo residents expressed shock on Tuesday, a day after the arrest of Nissan chairman Carlos Ghosn sent shockwaves through the business world and threw into doubt the future of Japan's #2 automaker and its global alliance. Ghosn was arrested for alleged financial misconduct and would be fired from the board this week. Ghosn is also chairman and chief executive of Nissan French partner Renault. The Nikkei share average dropped 0.6% to 21,682.19 in mid-morning trade. In Israel, Airbnb will remove from its listings all homes in Israeli settlements in the occupied West Bank. The U.S. firm says it had made the decision because settlements were at the core of the dispute between Israelis and Palestinians. The move has been welcomed by Palestinians, but Israel has called it shameful and threatened legal action. And in USA, a spokesperson for the United Nations disclosed that Turkish Foreign Minister Mevlut Cavusoglu and UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres discussed the case of Saudi journalist Jamal Khashoggi when they met on Monday. However, the Turkish official did not request a UN inquiry into the death of the Saudi journalist. Khashoggi, a US-based Washington Post columnist who was a critic of the Saudi government run by Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, was killed in October at the Saudi consulate in Istanbul. After offering numerous contradictory explanations for Khashoggi's disappearance, Riyadh said last week he had been killed and his body dismembered when negotiations to convince him to return to Saudi Arabia failed. The public prosecutor said it would seek the death penalty for 5 suspects in the case. 4 prominent Western rights groups, Human Rights Watch, Amnesty International, the Committee to Protect Journalists, and Reporters Without Borders last month urged Turkey to ask the United Nations to investigate the disappearance of Khashoggi. Beverly Sison, UNTV News and Rescue.
And those are the news from the other parts of the globe. Back to you, William.
Thank you very much, Kath Dumaraos, live from Bangkok, Thailand. Talks about a rematch with Floyd Mayweather Jr. overshadow fighting Senator Manny Pacquiao's promotions for his boxing bout against 29-year-old Adrian Bronner in January 2019. Victor Cosare tells us why.
Filipino boxing icon Manny Pacquiao insists that any talk of a rematch with Floyd Mayweather Jr. must wait until after January's WBA welterweight title defense against Adrian Bronner. Pacquiao said this on Monday at a news conference to promote his January 19 fight in Las Vegas.
Floyd, if he's come out of his retirement, and let's say we'll see after this fight, but we cannot underestimate Adrian Bronner. We cannot underestimate this fight because I have to go through for this fight first, and before we talk about and discuss about the rematch with Floyd Mayweather.
There has been speculation about a rematch ever since Mayweather scored a unanimous decision over Pacquiao, who later said he was hampered by a right shoulder injury in a 2015 bout that was dubbed the fight of the century but never lived up to its billing. 41-year-old American Mayweather retired in 2017 with a 50-0 record and said on Instagram in September that a rematch of the much-hyped 2015 fight would take place this year. The post included a video of Mayweather and Pacquiao talking to each other at a music festival in Tokyo. Pacquiao, who turns 40 in December, shed some light on what was said during that encounter when asked about it on Monday.
We talk, and he said he want to come out from the retirement to fight me and to challenge me, but I told him I got a belt and you have to challenge me and come out from your retirement, and I decided that. I say that because on that situation that he trying to bully me or whatever.
Pacquiao showed a return to form in July when he stunned defending champion Lucas Matisse with a 7th-round knockout in Kuala Lumpur to claim the WBA welterweight title. American Bronner, 29 years old, who was once considered by some to be the apparent pound-for-pound king Mayweather, is far from intimidated by Pacquiao and is fully aware that the southpaw can go down.
But he's been knocked out 3 times. We know he can go out and go to sleep. He don't need no night cool for that. we know he can go to sleep. So and I got the power to do it.
Victor Cosare, UNTV News and Rescue.
A ramen bar in Manhattan offers booths for single who are not ready to mingle when dining in New York. Leslie Longboan tells us why.
Sick of sharing your restaurant? If you are single but not ready to mingle, then this ramen restaurant may be for you. Owned by the Ichiran restaurant group based in Japan, the Midtown Manhattan Ramen restaurant has arranged its interior in such a way that the diner can complete a meal without a hint of interaction with a fellow human being. A total of 46 private booths comprise the ironically noisy floor of Ichiran, which is divided into two sides. Ichiran's official name for its eating stall is a ramen focus booth. The kitchen is located in the wall between the adjoining rows of booths and looks out onto the dining area through private windows for the diners. The diners in turn submit their orders via paper form through banner-covered windows, which enable them to even avoid speaking to staff if they so desire.
The idea was that when they created this restaurant, that they wanted to create booths where people could concentrate on the flavor of the ramen without too many distractions around them. And I feel that directly contradicts the normal American way of dining because we often dine with each other and not so much concentrated on the food. But here it's the exact opposite, and it's actually caught on really well.
Ichiran is a family-owned chain and was founded by Manabu Yoshitomi. It currently counts a total of 77 restaurants, mostly located throughout Japan. In addition to 2 sites in New York City and Hong Kong, Ichiran also operates in Taiwan. Next year, Ichiran will be opening another site in New York City, a Times Square restaurant that will feature more than 100 private booths as ramen chains spread throughout Gotham. The family of Ichiran restaurants includes both traditional restaurants and the booths. But all Ichirans share the same critically acclaimed Ichiran Tonkotsu ramen, comprised of pork broth and fresh noodles. Diners are given the chance of choosing the level of saltiness and richness of their broth and whether they want scallions atop their ramen, among other options. The base price for the ramen is $18.90 and tipping isn't allowed.
Well, a lot of people just want to get away, especially when you're in a big city and you're surrounded by crowds all the time. It can be very tiring, especially if you're already introverted. So this is a great paradise for introversion.
Leslie Lomboan, UNTV News and Rescue.
And those are the reasons behind the news, August 21st, 2018. On behalf of Rheena, Villamor-Camara, and Angelo Castro III, I am William Thio. Because we need to know, we will always ask why. Good evening.